When your need to fix gets in the way of your want to support, then you've already failed. Welcome back, and first off, if you're new here and you want to learn about emotional intelligence, things like resilience, how to deal with yourself and other people's difficult emotions, then please make sure that you subscribe and turn on the notifications so you know each and every time I post a video. So today I'm talking about holding space and how we can be there for people in those difficult conversations, particularly in situations where there is no solution. So I started off by saying that when our need to fix gets in the way of our want to support, then we're already failing. And the reason that I say that is because fixing is so often about ourselves, and it's often so driven by the ways that we feel rather than being there for the people whose feelings we are trying to validate. And I want to start off by saying, if you think about somebody who had a physical problem and they were in hospital, let's say, and you knew nothing about the physical illness, you knew nothing about the ways to make it better, you still visit that person, right? You go and visit them. You say, I don't know what I can do to help you, but I'm going to be here to support you. So you visit and you stay and you stick around, right? And the same should be true when we're thinking about people with internal wounding and when they're sharing with us something that we may not know what to do or how to solve. And that should be freeing in itself. And so I'm talking about the occasions when people come to us with difficult feelings and we should remove our want to fix them. Always start at a place of stepping into somebody's darkness and sitting for a while. Not to fix them, not to change them, but so that they might feel heard. And if you keep that within your mind, then you're going to be on the path of better supporting them rather than your need to fix getting in the way. Now, what we so often do is hit people straight away with either positivity or a route out of how they're feeling. And that's nearly always not what people are searching for when they're sharing with us the ways in which they feel. So, for example, if somebody says to you, I feel like I don't want to be here, what we will often do is say, oh, come on, there's no reason for you to feel like that, right? Everybody loves you. I want things to be better for you. Why don't you try doing this? And what about if you do that? And there's loads of reasons for you to want to be alive, right? And what we so often do to protect ourselves from the truth is that we say that the reason that we do that is because we're good people and we want to make it better for them, right? Now, both of those things are true, but I don't think that's what drives us to hit straight with the positivity. I believe what's really happening is we can't handle how we feel when we sense just how much that person is struggling. And so we are offering all these other things to try and get the energy levels back up so that we don't have to be in that difficult space. So when I hit somebody with the positivity and I say, come on, you don't have to feel like that, right? There's no need for you to be like that. You don't have to feel any of these things. That's not driven by my want for it to be better for them. It's driven by the way that I'm feeling and my desire for me to not feel like that. And so often we will finish those lines of positivity that we dish out, we will finish them with, you get it, right? You know what I'm saying? And of course, so often the person will shut straight down and they will say, yeah, I get it, you're right. And what they actually mean is, I now recognize you're not emotionally available here to support me where I need you. So we have to get better at holding space. Holding space should start at a place of deep listening. Deep listening is about listening to this person on much further and beyond just the words that they say, but the ways that they're making you feel, their body language, their facial expressions. Deep listening goes much, much further than the words in which they use. And also it's about listening to the silence too. So if somebody is prolonging a certain amount of silence, that can make our bodies go crazy and we don't know what to do and we feel like we should say something. Sometimes we need to hold that and listen to the silence and allow that space to be there for us to both be able to experience the person's feelings of what they're sharing with us. It's important to stay present. Sometimes when we feel overwhelmed by what we're hearing, we will want to run away from that, and we will do that often metaphorically. So we will start cutting through and maybe trying to change the subject, right? Because we don't want to admit to ourselves that we're really, really struggling in the place that we've been put into when we hear the person's feelings. You have to allow emotions to surface where you can. So even when things start to arise in you that are really, really difficult for you to feel, as somebody who is trying to hold space for somebody, it's our duties to try and let those emotions rise in ourselves and in the other person so that they may have the ability to explore them. When somebody is sharing their difficult feelings with you, they are asking you for support in feeling them, not for you to make them stop feeling them. We never get over or around emotions, we go through them. And if we're listening to people, our duty is to help them go through them, is to hold their hand through the mire of what they're experiencing, rather than grabbing them by the scruff of the neck and trying to pull them to where we are. You have to avoid judgment as well. And when I talk about judgment, I'm not necessarily always talking about the negative judgment of people. You know, I'm talking about this where we start going, you know, you should talk more about how you feel, for example. That's a judgment. That's me saying, I know what's wrong with you and I know what's right for you. Both things of which are not true. And so we have to avoid that judgment and rather ask more open questions. How does this feel for you? Have you experienced something that's led to these emotions? How are you feeling right now as you're talking about these? All of these are about creating the space. They're not running away from the emotions. They are validating what the person is sharing with you. And you are saying to this person, I am here with you now, and I want to support you in these feelings. When we hit straight away with solution or with positivity, we are actually saying, I am not available to hear and support you where you're at. And so I'm trying to get you to somewhere else where I feel more comfortable. These are all difficult realizations and ones that we find very difficult to admit to ourselves, particularly if we're talking about a parent-child situation here, by the way, or somebody that we really, really care about. Everything that I'm talking about becomes a lot more difficult because it's emotive, and there's a, you know, you're in a relationship bond there, which makes everything more complex and sometimes more complicated too. Always, 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 when we're thinking about holding space, make sure that it's about the person that we're talking to. Think of them as being in a place that you can't necessarily change, and your duty is to support them there. Once you start to realize that you can't change somebody's past, you can't fix their future, then what you do know is that you have the power to support them where they're at. And this is vital. I hope this video has been useful. I think it'll be great for teachers to see. I think it'll be great for parents to see. And I think it'll be great for everybody to see, because I believe we need to become better listeners rather than trying to create better talkers. Talking is not the problem, listening is. When we become better listeners, the talkers will follow. If this video has been useful, then please make sure you've liked it. I'll be back next week with some more stuff. This video was inspired by somebody that messaged me online. So if you feel like there's anything that you want me to talk about, reach out and I'll do what I can to meet you where you're at. Thank you.